Hello and welcome to another episode of Bum with a Wrench. I'm your host Daniel, and on today's episode we're going to go pick up my new to me car that I just bought. So this is actually the end. I've already got the car. I've already filmed everything. When I went to edit the film right now, I realized I didn't open. There's no opening. So after the car's already here and after I've finished recording all of the videos, now I'm going to do the opening. So here we are. Thank you guys for joining in again. And let me cut to the beginning when I first started this adventure to go get this car. I don't want to say too much because I can't remember exactly all of what I said. I know I was holding off a lot. In this video, just to let you know, heads up, it's just me talking, me showing you stuff. There's nothing, I'm working on anything, but at the end, I think you're going to be surprised. So hang in there, and then let's get started. All right, guys, it's early o'clock in the morning. Like, you know, sun hasn't even woke up yet. It's Sunday. Let's see here. For those of you that aren't in the U.S., it's the Sunday after Thanksgiving, which would be Sunday, November 26th. I'm going to go pick up my new car, well, new to me. Obviously this thing's going to be pretty hammered. I can't afford, crazy $100,000 car. That's just, bum life. So, but I wanted to talk to you guys about numbers here real quick. And I don't have my glasses, so you're going to have to bear with me here for a second. So in the 7-liter world, 11,073 7-liters were built in 1966, right? Of those 11,073, let's see here. Uh, 8,705 of them were two-door hardtops. So of the 8,705 of them, that red one is one of 8,705. Now there's roughly, last count it was like 3,000 accounted for. Now there might be more that just aren't accounted for, hopefully, because they're really awesome cars. I really love these cars. So those are all the hardtops. Now, that 4-speed convertible in there, things really start to change when you start talking about 4-speed convertibles, okay? So, of the convertibles, total two-door convertibles ever built were 2,368 convertibles. Now we qualify a little bit more, we go into the 4-speed world. Of the 4-speed convertibles, there's only 428. So the number really starts to chip down lower and lower and lower and lower. On the C6 cars, there's 1,938. Now these are production numbers. These aren't accounted for, still in existence. I'd have to get those numbers. I'm not sure of those numbers. But just in case you're wondering, the 427 cars, 4-speed, there was only 2. Convertible 4-speed 427 cars. On the 427 hardtops, there's 36. Those would be R code cars. Just a little number for your brain there, a little food for thought. But so when we're talking about these 7-liters being rare, when you start to dip into the 4-speed convertibles, 428, which I thought was kind of cool because they used the 428 number, but only 428 of the 4-speed convertibles were ever built. Now that's accounting for all the different configurations, just like the one that I have there in the shop, that is extremely rare because it is optioned out to no end. And we'll talk more about that car again, but I just want to spit some numbers at you real quick, just so you can kind of get a better understanding of the rarity of these cars. Now we're talking 1966, right? So if that was today's numbers, you're like, well, 8,000, 11,000, whatever. That's quite a few cars. They're pretty old now, and there's not a lot of them still around. So the one that came across for me is a 1966 convertible 4-speed 7-liter. No motor, no trans, pretty rough, but everything's there except for the motor and trans. Which a top loader, okay, that's not too hard to get. The 428s are getting a little bit harder to get, and the ones that you do find are quite pricey. I'd still love to find an early block and build my own, but I'll have to see how that goes. But obviously the top's not there. All the framework's there. The center console's there. All the seats are there. The hood spear's there. The grill's there. All the hard to find stuff is still there. I believe it's missing the headlight bezels, but that's not particular to the 7-liter. So those are pretty easy to get. All the hard stuff is there. Now this is a convertible, and it's been out in the elements, for I don't know how many years, sitting there with no top on it. So the good thing is this is in a dry western state. So there's supposed to be little to no rust. Now I got to drive a whole day to get to it. So I'm going to see what little to no rust actually looks like. I'm expecting to see some rust because when you're dealing with a convertible with no top out in the weather in a place where it can snow, this thing would have been packed down with snow in the wintertime, and then it would have melted off, filled the floorboards. So I'm not sure exactly how this thing's going to look, but it doesn't matter. To me, it's a 7-liter convertible 4-speed, one of 428 cars ever built. The thing's kind of cool too. It's a yellow color, factory yellow. Really kind of a cool car. I'm really looking forward to that one. It's going to need full restoration. That one's going to take me years to put that car back together. But hopefully I have years to spend on it. So I'm getting ready right now to go pick that thing up. I'm getting the truck ready. I've got an extra set of wheels here in the back. I'm going to throw a jack back here. Remember, this is a 7-liter, so the wheels that I have from my 65 hardtop won't fit on this car because of the big calipers. So I have a set of spacers in the shop that I'm going to grab for the front ends, throw those on real quick so I can throw my wheels on so I can get this thing to roll. I'll pull it up onto my trailer and drag this thing back. So let me get loaded up, and the next time you see me will probably be tomorrow after I've picked the car up. I plan to stop at a gas station or something, or little pull out, and then update you guys and show you the car. So hang tight. I'll be right back with you. All right, my fellow bums. I am extremely tired. I ran this Ram truck for about 20 hours yesterday. Got the car. And listen, I know I told you I'd show you the car today. But I really think that I need to prepare you a little bit because, Bum with a Wrench can't be responsible for people passing out when they see this thing. So, I think we need some, some real time with a bum talking a little bit. I gotta prepare you for this one. And this is, under normal circumstances, I would not have taken a car like this. I wouldn't have. However, this car is super rare. When you're talking 7-liters and you're talking rarity, this car is like one of, I think right now on the registry there's like 120 of them. And depending on who you talk to, at least my Ford guy gets mad and he's like, there's only like 48 that I know of, So 48, 50, 120 something. Super rare. And we're not talking about the United States. We're talking about worldwide. So the rarity of this car is why I purchased this car. There's a couple reasons. I purchased the car because it's super cool, super rare. And then the days of finding stuff like this car that's super cool and super rare are at an end. I mean, you're just not finding this anymore. You're not going to find these cars anymore. They're really coming to an end. So the fact that I was able to actually find something like this, that gives me the opportunity to preserve history, put something back on the road that, people are going to really love and enjoy. To me, that's super cool. So, I'm excited about that. This guy backing in is blocking my perfect view of that beautiful flag right there, but that's okay, I guess. So to me, that's really something, to have the opportunity to build a super rare car like this. So I mean, I can't, it's going to be time and money. It's going to take me so much time, so much money. But in the end, this car would be worth, if you do it right, you take it slow, you do everything the way it's supposed to be done, $125,000 car. When we're talking 7 liters, the red automatic that I have, that car is, on a solid day, it's a solid $100,000 car. Right now in the market that we're in, the market just won't hold that kind of number. Right now I think I'd be happy to get 80 for that car, but the car is really not for sale. Everything's for sale for the right number, of course, but that's kind of where that car's at. The car is a good $100,000 car all day. The rarity of this car makes it that immediate on a bad economy $100,000 car. In a good economy, it could be 100, 150, easy. And these are all just projected numbers, of course. Something's only worth what somebody else is going to pay for it. So, but in the world of rare 7 liters, this is up there. The number one sought after 7 liter is a hardtop 4-speed, no power anything. So completely stripped down, manual brakes, no power steering, no power brakes, no air conditioning. That's like the holy grail of 7 liters. I think that when I was looking, I think there's 38 of them that were built. 32, 38, I don't know, we'll say 30. So those are the ones that everyone looks for. But this car is just super cool because there's only like 100, depending on who you talk to, 50 or 120 something of them. And the other really cool part about this car is it wasn't documented. Nobody knew where it was. The VIN number was one of those just lost cars. And so now that it was found, the VIN number now is in the registry. So it's another one found. It's another one that's going to be completely restored and put back on the road, and for the world to enjoy and love. Cool story behind this car. Again, I'm just really not going to show you the car right now because I need some of this information to sink in, so that way when you see it, you're not like, just like, what the heck? But so some of the cool information on this car, where it came from, nobody knows, but some guys were digging through a scrap yard. So, there's 2 types of yards. You got your like pick your part ecology type yard, and then you've got your straight scrap metal yards. This was in a scrap metal yard, and apparently these guys, they knew the yard, knew the guys in the yard. They once or a couple times a week, they would just kind of walk the yard and see if there was anything in there that got looked over, basically. So they're walking through the yard, they see this car, and then immediately, they jumped on it and told them, no. So this car was minutes, hours away from being just completely crushed and gone. They ended up being there on the right day, finding the right car, the stars aligned, and they saved the car. So they bought it for scrap iron price, of course. sold it to the gentleman that I bought it from. Thank you, Sean, by the way. It's really awesome that you're a cool dude. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for holding the light last night, helping me out. That was really neat. I really appreciate all that. So this really nice gentleman that I met, he had the car, he bought the car. He actually has another 7-liter. He's still learning a lot about 7-liters as well. And so once he found out how rare this car was, then he knew that at that point, okay, we can't park this thing out. It's got to go to someone who's gonna restore it, put it back on the road, and get it out there for people to enjoy. So he puts it out there, and then of course my Ford guy gets a hold of it and then calls me and says, "Hey, I've got something for you. It's rough, but you gotta get this car." So that's how the story came. I paid the same number that he paid for it when he bought it from the guys who found it in the scrapyard. Again, I didn't pay a lot of money for this car. He didn't pay a lot of money for this car. It is rough, but it looks bad, but it's solid. Okay, the frame is good, the suspension's good, the body is in horrible shape, but the hard to find pieces are there. The 4-speed center console is there. The spear on the hood's there, the grill's there. A lot of the hard to find pieces that make a 7-liter are there in the car. There's some parts that are missing that are not a big deal. The fenders are pretty rough, but I think I can straighten most of them. But we evaluate it as we go. The floors are absolutely non-existent. Again, you got to remember this was in a scrap metal yard. So they didn't know what it was. They didn't, they're just seeing it as, put it in the crusher and let's make little bits, So that's where we're at with this car. I'm going to get it back to the shop. I'm not really going to clean it up. It's super cold outside too, and windy. That's another reason why I don't want to really show you the car right now. I've got about, I don't know, maybe a 7 or 8 hour drive still. Let's see what it says. Oh, not bad. It says 5 hours, 40 minutes, 374 miles. So, I got a little while before I get back. So by the time I get back, I think it'll be, let's see. Let's see what it says. It'll be about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I think. So I think I have just enough time to kind of show you guys the car. And then that'll be it for the day. I'll probably end up going home. But, so let me get back to the shop. We'll check it out. And again, take this time. And, I got 5 hours and whatever minutes. For you, it's going to be, a couple seconds while this video cuts out and the next one cuts in. But take this short couple seconds here and just remember the fact that this was in a wrecking yard, in a scrap metal yard, and it got saved. Sorry, guys, we are back here in the shop. I'm tired. That was a lot of driving. 2 good, solid days of just straight driving, but in my opinion, very worth it. I love this car. It's a really cool car, and of course we're still working on it. It'll be back together soon. This is definitely getting worked on this week. So this one, it will be finished before anything else gets touched. This is the main focus. So this one will get done. And then, I introduced the 66 convertible 4-speed back there. That car, we'll take a look at that in a minute. I've been holding you guys off on this one that I got for too long, but just keep in mind, you remember the numbers that we just talked about, because that's important when you see this car. Those numbers are everything. The whole reason why normally I would not have bought a car like this. I would not have spent money on a car like this. Keep in mind this thing came out of a scrapyard. So I'm pretty excited about being someone that has the opportunity to take a rare car like this and put it back on the road. But without further ado, here she is. She is rough. Definitely rough. Let me get everything kind of set up here so I can walk you around and show you. So remember, she was in a scrapyard. So not a junkyard. Not where like, oh yeah, let's pull parts. No, this was straight crush it down into a ball, chew it up, spit it out in pieces. So, and this right here, this is the good side. Yeah, it's cool. You can actually see the pinstripe. The 4-speed, the other convertible 4-speed in there has the pinstripe, and I thought, man, are you sure that's original? Yep, sure is. Goes up here. Oh yeah, there's the top of it. Yeah. So it's missing the hood latch, and when we tried to open the hood actually bent in half. So, but it does have a lot of the important parts. So the grill, super important. It's missing bolts, that's why it's kind of sagging. But the grill, super important. The lenses are actually in pretty good shape. This one's cracked a little bit, but they're not too bad. The pitting's not bad in the chrome, so I think a lot of that can be cleaned up and re-chromed. Front bumper's no big deal. You can get a bumper anywhere. Headlight bezels, no big deal. You can get those anywhere. The fender itself is not specific to the 7-liter. So, I mean, obviously where the holes are to hold the badge is, but you know, you can make holes. But the fenders, this one's not too bad. It's pretty wrinkled up in here, but I think I can hammer and dolly most of that out. It does have a little bit of rust at the bottom of the doors, but I think this door can be saved. I want to try and save as much of the original car as possible. It's easy to just throw another door on there, but when you do that, you know, it's not the same door the car came with. I would really love to try and save it. Now this is about the worst of the rust up in here. Now keep in mind this was a Salt Lake car, so it did see a little bit of, you know, salt and grime and that kind of stuff. It's got a little bit over here. I'd have to take this off. I'm expecting to see a little bit underneath that panel. But if you look underneath the car, the frame's in pretty good shape. There's no holes in it. The frame underneath my 65 convertible is rotted through, but this one's not bad. But if you look, okay, I'm gonna flip you guys upside down and then stick you underneath the car so you can kind of see what the car looks like. I can't see what you can see, so sorry if it's a bunch of just craziness. But you know, obviously there's some holes. The exhaust is somewhat there. Kind of tilt you like this a little bit. It's got some glass packs on it. That's interesting. The floor is, you know, it's sunroof style, but the floors can be replaced. But the frame itself, so if you look forward, the frame's in really good shape. The horns are good. Everything's good as far as the frame goes. Sorry if you really couldn't see much with that. You've seen more of the underside of the car than I have at this point. But the frame is in good shape. Obviously the trunk is rotted, but the trunk pans can be replaced. But like on my 65 convertible, these horns right here of the frame, that's the rear frame horn, those are completely rotted through on my 65 convertible. And these ones are actually in good shape. It's got a lot of surface rust on it, but no heavy corroded holes, soft parts, anything like that. Now the trunk doesn't have a latch, so I had to, you know, put a ratchet strap on there to hold the trunk down. Now this is the bad side. So it's pretty heavily damaged here. It looks like maybe someone tried to pull it back out straight at one point. I don't know, it's hard to tell. It does have a little bit of filler, I noticed. So it was repaired on this quarter. at one time. So this probably is not original paint, although it does have the pinstripe and stuff. So they went through the whole process, which is pretty cool. The filler door, this is actually rusted on my 65 hardtop. The only bit of rust on my 65 hardtop is this piece right here, because water went in and the little thing got plugged and it rotted it out. And those are the wheels off my 65 hardtop. So this is the worst side. It's got a lot of damage here, and I want to try and pull and hammer and dolly and repair as much of this as I can, but I need to get in here. I need to see how bad this rust has gotten, how bad it's gotten in there. You know, obviously the same thing on the other side, and a little bit back here. That's to be expected in a place with salt. So a little bit in the door on here and the bottom of the door here. I really wonder if a lot of this stuff, because some of this looks real fresh, if this actually happened in the scrapyard. Like most of this was probably straight, and then they brought another car in, and you can see kind of fresh scratches in here, and just kind of nailed it because they didn't know what it was. They just saw it as scrap metal. I have no title on this car. It was just sold as scrap metal. So I got to go through the title recovery process. But up in the wheel wells and stuff are in pretty good shape. Nothing's really rotted out to where it can't be used. And even the inner fender wells are still clean and black. So this thing sat for a long time, obviously. That's why the floors are completely rotted out of the car. And I don't care really about the floors being rotted out because those are easily changed. It's really the major part that really saddens me is this quarter. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to save it. I would love to. I don't want to cut this quarter off and replace it, but it is in bad shape. Really bad shape. The trunk lid, that's probably seen the last day. Because of all the framework in there, I would have to reskin it, straighten the framework, and then straighten the skin, and then put the skin back on the framework. Maybe I can save it. I don't know. This thing is rough. I kept seeing it in the rearview mirror, and kept telling myself, what am I getting into? You can see up here, this is all wrinkled up because the quarter got wrinkled. So because the quarter got pushed in, it created a bunch of ripples and stuff up in here. You can see the major hits. These are going to be hard to get out. And see, all that stuff's fresh. These are fresh hits. And so a lot of that probably came from the scrapyard. Now the important part, the console's there. The dash isn't too, the metal part of the dash, obviously the dash cover and stuff is completely gone. But then the dash pad, I can buy those. The gauges, of course, are completely trashed. So I'm going to have to source one of those. That's not too hard to get. I do have a parts car too, so. So there is a lot. All of the stuff that's hard to get, the grill, the spear on the hood, the center console, the seats, the seat frames, like all this stuff, even though this is dinged, I'm pretty sure I can straighten that, polish that back out, and that would be just fine. And if I can't, I have another one in there. So, a lot of this stuff being here is the most important thing. There's a trim piece I see in there that might be to a seat. I don't know. But the seats are there. I got to dig out all the pine needles and see what I have. But it's got the 3 pedals. That's the most important thing. Of course, there's no motor in it. The front frame horns and the frame and everything are fine. I'm not going to lift the hood because I can't close it again, because it'll just bend in half. But panels are there, the door panels are actually there, so the center parts of the door panel, I might be able to clean those up and restore them somehow. But a lot of the stuff is here. The framework for the top is actually in perfect shape. Obviously you'd take it off, you would replace all the bushings and powder coat the frame and put it back together. But you know, the little unlatched thing, of course, is all rusted out, but I can get new ones of those. That's not particular to the 7-liter. But the seats are important. This one over here is rusted out pretty bad on the bottom. This one's got some rust going too, but I can fix all that. So, you know, a little welding, a little shaping, a little grinding, a little painting, and it's all back the way it was. The important part is it's there. So, you know, a lot of people look at this and just, you know, go, no way, it's impossible, but it's not impossible. It's totally possible. And this car being one of, you know, depending on who you're talking to, 48, 50, or according to the registry, 120 something, makes this car worth every penny to redo. Because in the end, this car would be worth quite a bit of money. And it's more than just the money. You know, it's really about, you know, preserving a piece of history. They didn't make a lot of these. And so having one and having the opportunity to actually, you know, put my name on this and say, yeah, no, I restored that one. I did that one. I mean, it's a lot of stress because you want to do it right. You know, you want everyone to look at it and appreciate, you know, the work that you put into it, instead of going, oh, well, you cheapened out on this or you skipped on that, or you know, this is going to be a very, very, very long project. This is not something that's 2 years out. This is more of like a, you know, by the time it gets to like the red one, like a 10-year project. I really got to take my time with this. I'm lucky enough to have that blue 4-speed convertible around to use that as a reference point. That has all of the original stuff on it. So if you need to know how a 7-liter is supposed to look, you use that car. That car is extremely unique in the way that it is 100% factory correct in every way. So much so that you can't do anything to it. And the owner loves the car, but at the same time, he's like, I can't do anything to it, you know? Let me just give you a quick example. I'll just show you underneath the front end real quick. And then you know, I'm pulling the cover up, so maybe we'll pop the hood and see what the motor looks like. But having this car around as a reference to how my car is actually supposed to look, you know, in the end, that yellow car is going to look like this blue car. And I'm going to do everything exactly the way the car is supposed to be. So the car was yellow, it's going to be yellow. White top, I think black interior on that yellow car. And so everything is going to be exactly the way it came from the factory. Let me get you underneath this car so you can see. I mean, just look at the control arms. Look at the paint on the springs, the shock. You know, you can barely see, I know, but it's absolutely amazing. Like, this car is so factory perfect that you can't touch anything on this car. And that's just one corner of it, one little tiny piece of the underneath that you can see. Let me get you under the hood. Let me put you down here real quick. This is what it's supposed to look like, or looked like from the factory. All the stickers in perfect condition. everything. Stripes on the hose. Caution. The battery is not right, but if you were going to do a concourse car, then you would buy the correct battery that goes in the car. But he's not into that. He's not into showing the car in that way. If he did, then easy, buy the correct battery that it came with from the factory. But, and see, normally what we do on the headers is we go through and we pull them off, we media blast them, and then put graphite on them. And I'll show you what that looks like, so they won't rust. But this car, of course, didn't have it, so it's not that way. All the 428 FEs in the 7 liters had chrome valve cover. So if you're looking at that going, you know, well, it's got a chrome valve cover. No, that's from the factory. It's exactly the way it was supposed to be. So this is it. This is exactly the way it's supposed to be from the factory. Look at the stamp on the fender. You know. Chrome on the brake with the stampings on it. You know. Everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Nothing is off. You know, Fumoco hose. Not a Gates. So this car is great to have around. It'll help me to get my yellow 7 liter looking the way it's supposed to. Now, am I going to go through the trouble of actually, you know, sourcing the stickers and doing that kind of stuff? I don't know. That's a long ways away. I do know that right now I need to get ready, which means I need to tackle a lot of jobs in the shop. I got to get the 7 liter done. I got to get the Camaro done. I got to get the El Camino done. And I got to get the 210 done before I even think about touching that car. And then the other big decision I got to make is, am I going to be able to keep my 65 hardtop? You know, this thing, I just pulled this out of that lady's garage. And so, I mean, it looks cool and everything. It's got the wheels on it and the motors and stuff. I mean, I'm like 2% into this car. This car needs everything still. So, you know, I don't have the money to do 2 cars. So I don't know. I need to make a choice. I need to make a decision. I need to see, maybe I just put this one off to the side and work on it, because I didn't really spend too much on this car. I mean, I've got a little bit into it now. Maybe I'm going to need that money to do my convertible. You know, I don't know. But that 7 liter obviously takes precedence over everything else that I own, not my job. My job is still my job. I have to get these cars done. I know it looks like I'm out playing. The boss is very, very, very gracious. He's given me some freedoms, but you know, you never want to take advantage of any of that stuff. So you still have to do your job. So I got to get these cars done. That's very important to me. Plus, I love them. I consider them mine. You know, they've all got a little bit of me in them. So, but these are the big decisions I got to make. I got to figure out what I need to do. I think that'll do it for this episode. I'm glad you guys came along with me. You know, obviously, you know, you guys could have done some driving, because that was a lot of driving. Man, dang. But I'm really excited about doing this yellow car. I know it looks like a disaster, but it's not. So once I dig into it, of course, body is going to be the first thing. I got to straighten all that stuff out. Normally that would be the last thing for me, but this thing is in such bad shape. The floors need to be replaced. All the body panels need to be straightened. I'll get into a primer position, and then I can start concentrating on a lot of other stuff. But that car, I'm really excited. I'm happy to be able to own one. I'm excited to be able to restore one. and put one out there with my name on it as me restored it. You can kind of see how I'm kind of neurotic about a lot of things in here and the way I do things. So I'm sure that car will come out really nice. But again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for coming along on this journey with me. I hope you'll tune in, more and watch the progression on the 7-liter over the next years. But for now, that's going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe. You can go on to my website, bumwithwrench.com. There's not a lot on there right now, but I'm still growing, and I'm growing as quickly as possible. So, hang tight with me on that one. But and then I don't know, sometime I hope to get some hats, t-shirts, that kind of stuff. I'm trying to build the brand, build the name. So, but I really appreciate all of you. And until next time.